Meteorologist Joe Bastardi with your Go Salt weekly winter update. And, it'd be very tempting to just say, hey, it's warm in the east, cold in the west, nothing going on, but I'm not like that. I want to explain what you are seeing now may be a big indicator of what's going to go on in mid and late December. All right. So this is very interesting because if you take a look at this and say, what the heck's going on? Well, underneath all that red in the eastern part of the United States, you got some late season tropical cyclone activity. I'm going to show you why the coordination between that and mid and late December cold is astounding. All right. So let's move on here. There's all your snow this week, right? It's in the southern Rockies. Okay, so what's happened is when you look at these hurricane seasons, when there's late activity, I define late activity after the 15th of September through November. Okay, when there's more than normal late activity, it's usually because the Madden-Julian oscillation is rolling around into what we call favorable phases for hurricane development, which is 8, 1, 2, and 3. All right, actually starts in 7 and goes midway to 3. So midway 7 to midway 3. That's what I look for. So if you follow me on Weatherbell, you can see me timing this stuff up. And this is, for instance, the 1985 example. We had Juan at the end of October. Kate came in November. And Kate's interesting in, you had a Gulf of Mexico hurricane in November, and we're going to have a Gulf of Mexico hurricane this week. All right, Raphael is going to develop in the Caribbean. It's exactly as we've been timing it up. The end game coming out of the Caribbean. Then you may have Sarah reach the Florida coast sometime early next week, and that's a draft choice to be named later. Put it that way. There's the 85 example. There's the 1950 example, and a lot of that stuff started happening at the end of November. Started getting real cold. This was the most recent example. Now, it did not bear fruit in the eastern part of the United States. So horrible. It got wickedly cold. Just that was it. Winter ended. And look, let me be frank with you. A lot of these winters, the December cold shot is the highlight of the winter. I don't necessarily think that that's the case this winter. And we're going to have a big to-do here on Go Salt later about that. All right? So we'll look at the whole winter thing, but that's a different video coming up later on. Tom Downs and I will argue in front of you. But, okay, so let me explain this. Madden-Julian oscillation rolling into those phases, bang, the hurricanes go off. When you saw Helene and Milton hit, they were in phase 1 and 2. All right? So that, again, that part of the hemisphere over there, all right, is correlated highly with hurricanes hitting the United States, as you can see plainly there. But it's also correlated in December to this. Phase 7, Phase 8, and Phase 1 are very cold. So if you add 40 days to where we are now, all right, things like to go around at 40 days. You ever notice that? 40 days is a big number. I wonder what was going on with that. I'm only playing around there, but yeah, the Madden-Julian oscillation averages a 40 days rotation. 40 days from November 4th puts us to what? Mid-December. Look at the correlations in December. All right, and we are beginning to see the look of that down the road toward the end of November. I mean, in interesting cases, you could start fooling around before the month ends. All right, but the main thrust of cold would likely be mid and late December here, relative to averages, okay? And anyway, I just thought I'd spew that little piece of information for you. That's it for now. Enjoy the weather. It's the only weather you got.